This spring, Dyersburg State Community College Jimmy Naifeh Center is celebrating its 25th anniversary. We opened the first building in February of 1996, 18,800 square feet of science labs, a big open space for a quiet lounge, and of course a reception area and classrooms and offices. It really got us off to a great start, and a couple years later, we added the second part of it in '98, so we had our building. And in about a year or so, we named it in honor of Speaker Jimmy Naifeh, and he's with us today. Glad to see him here. Actually, we're here in his office. It's a recreation, Jimmy, of what you had in Nashville.
Right, it is.
And same couches, same desk, seal of the state of Tennessee, and incredible. Same picture. Lots of great memorabilia in this room about his work of 18 years as our Speaker of the House in Tennessee, and really helped Covington, Tipton County, and the whole state during that time. And with him is Jeff Huffman, and we're sitting in a building, Jeff is our county executive, our county mayor. Did you go to county mayor now for Tipton?
I've not. I'm still county executive.
You're still the best county executive in Tennessee, right?
I had to pass some special legislation to allow him to stay county executive.
Well, good. Well, he's a tremendous, and you started as county executive, what year was it?
1986.
86. So you saw all this happen and helped it happen. I know even to get into our rental, the building that we leased about a couple blocks north of here on 51, the co-op building or whatever we called it, the ag building. I think the county and all kinds of people helped make that livable for us for a couple of years before we could get into our first building here. And then before all of that, we were in Covington High School and Mumford High School, and we offered classes and kind of outgrew those places and needed more and more labs and classrooms. So again, thanks to the people in Tipton County and the Speaker, amazing things happened. But Mr. Speaker, you might want to talk a little bit. I guess when we started looking back in '92, we looked at the Gibson County Center. Tim Sloan, I know, was involved, Duke Brassfield.
Well, let me just first say, even my kids were in high school at Covington High School, went to Dyersburg State to pick up some of their college credits before they went to UT. And I was fortunate enough that they could go to a 4-year college at that time. But we had such a need for a 2-year institution here in Tipton County that it could improve the quality of life for so many people that could go to school here and also work. But let me go back just a little bit. And Jeff and I and Duke Brassfield, we were so fortunate. This is just this one occurrence I'm going to talk about now. We were so fortunate that Ned McWhorter was the governor from rural West Tennessee, and we went to see him about the funds for this campus here in Tipton County. He knew Duke when we walked in. He called him Duke Harris Brassfield, so not a lot of people knew Duke's middle name was Harris. But anyway, we got a very welcoming reception from the governor and his staff, and Jeff and I and Duke, and then Tim Sloan, and many, many others were involved. But that's where we got started, was when Ned was the governor in the early 90s, in the funds. But I do want to emphasize this is an example of what can happen when state and local government work together toward a common goal, toward a mission, and we had a mission.
And I remember you talking about you and Jeff getting the money for this building, which is our library and student center and Tipton County Public Library, so it's a nice joint project.
Well, when Jeff told Governor Bredesen, well, we started out with Governor McWhorter, and then Governor Sunquist was also very helpful with us, and then Governor Bredesen. So we went through 3 governors on getting funds and getting this approved. But when Jeff told Governor Bredesen that Tipton County, the county commission here, would put up $3 million for the library, that kind of sold the deal. That was that got Bredesen's attention, and I don't think we ever went backwards from then. You remember it too, don't you?
I do, and I think on any project, it's important to the state government folks that they know that the local folks are willing to put some money and invest in these kind of projects, that, you know, it's going to kind of lift all boats, and that we're not just asking state for some money, give us something, you build it, and then we'll get our folks to attend there. We wanted to make sure that Governor Bredesen knew that we were willing to invest some local dollars in it, not just ask the state for dollars. And he was receptive to that.
Yeah, and then to, you know, get the local library board on board, which was another challenge, but it worked. And
it was a challenge for Jeff, but he got it done.
I know, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. So wonderful cooperative people, like you've mentioned, and unfortunately they're not all with us anymore, but they certainly helped at the time. And I think it was Tim Sloan got the group together. We took to the Gibson County Center to see, we just opened that in December of '91, and John Tanner was there that day, and I know John was here for different occasions, and again, a supporter from congressional level, do what he could. So once they saw the Gibson County Center, they came home and they said, well, we can do better than that. And we started looking for property. And we were dealing with, I think, Chancellor Otis Floyd at first, and he passed away, kind of an untimely death. And then Charles Smith became Chancellor. And Charles was, I remember, on board with all of this, and was very helpful too to get us through the first building. And I've forgotten when Charles left. I think Mr. Manning was the chancellor when we got to our Baptist academic building. And without that building, we never would have had a nursing program here. So that's made a huge difference.
And you know, John Morgan was the chancellor, but before that, John was the deputy governor with Governor Bredesen, and he helped us tremendously. John did on every time we needed something, John Morgan was there to help us.
Yeah, he was a terrific chancellor, and like you say, he was right after Chancellor Manning, and I remember he and Governor Haslam didn't quite see eye to eye on, at the time when they separated the universities from the community colleges, so we lost a good one, but really helpful man, and especially in state government, and then, of course, as our chancellor.
Yeah, and keep in mind that during these years, these were years of austerity. The state of Tennessee didn't have a $2 or $3 billion rainy day fund. You know, the economy had taken a downturn, and the state was really, really scrambling to come up with dollars to provide basic services and continue to fund the K through 12 educational program. So there was a lot of competition for, scarce state dollars during those years.
And I think that's why we built half a building, right?
That's right.
We got half, and then we got the other half. Right. So I thought it was from that Scottish governor we had in McWhirter, But anyway.
I remember Governor McWhirter saying the important thing is that you guys got to make sure it happens is that we want folks that leave that post-secondary education facility to get a job. We don't want folks just to go. We want these folks to get a job. And he was all about, he went through the story of industrial development in Tennessee and rural Tennessee, and he wanted to connect every county seat to a major interstate. And he said, you got to knock the tops off those hills and level them out, and building highways and industrial parks. That was the way he really brought Tennessee back during those years of austerity.
Yeah, well, he'd be proud of, now we're working with certified nursing assistants, and we try to get them to come here to our registered nursing or go to the TCAT for LPN and just get them started in some kind of career. But we're at Brighton High School and Covington High School making that happen right now. So I think we'll have 62 of them graduate from high school and get their CNA as a beginning, as kind of first step. And really, the sky's the limit if they want to keep on going in nursing.
It's been pretty clear in rural Tennessee, Dr. Bowyer, over the years, you can see a difference in the statistics if a county has a campus of a post-secondary institution or whether they don't. It just makes a difference. Access it gives folks in rural areas makes a big difference in educational opportunities. And if you look across, you'll see that the areas, the communities that have post-secondary institutions, have a lot more folks attending those. They've got a lot more opportunity.
No doubt about it. And, people, number one, even right now, transportation is a huge problem. And, and then now that we're using so much technology, really the broadband is a huge problem for us. It's kind of like we need the Rural Electrification Administration again to take care of broadband everywhere.
You spoke of roads. One of the things that Governor McWhorter always said was roads plus education equals jobs. So you remember, Jeff, him telling us that.
That's exactly right. And it was clear even way back in the early 90s that the communities that were the best educated were going to have the best jobs. And that's still the way it is now.
We were very fortunate that he was the governor at the time that we were getting this started. Yeah. That's not to take away from Governor Sundquist, who helped us, and Governor Bredesen, who helped us, because both of them did.
And Governor Haslam, with he put the equipment in our manufacturing lab here and got the Tennessee Promise, which really opened the door for so many families that just didn't think they could afford even a community college or a TCAT. So, yeah, it was great. And I know, Jeff, you and I talked about we each wanted a library and finally got this one built, and there's really no demarcation line out there in this library. It's a public library and it's a college library, and I think a lot of great cooperation, and I know I've heard just really positive things, and I hope you have too.
We have, and the library numbers are up, and of course, in areas that have difficulty with broadband, the library is a place that someone can go who doesn't have access, and they can write a job application or fill out a job application or do research if they don't have internet access at home. So it makes a big difference in that regard. Plus, it's convenient. It's on the 4-lane highway that goes right through the center of Tipton County, so it's convenient for folks to get to the campus. And we also thought that with a joint library, it would do another thing, and that is small children who are coming to the library entering a community college campus, and that over the years, that might really make a difference in where they would decide to go after high school. They've already been, experiencing the community college campus life to a certain extent. And so it'd be more familiar with, and hopefully that would mean that more children would elect to go to the community college after they finish high school.
I think that's great foresight there, vision, and I think it's happening. I know I come in here on a Saturday morning, there's children crawling on the floor, the parents are there doing things, older kids are, reading or doing some kind of activity. So it's been a tremendous thing for families and for the whole county and for us too, that's for sure.
That's the only model I know of at the time that really combined a community college need for a library and the need for a public library as well, and just kind of melded it together.
Others, Jeff.
I don't know of any others.
I don't either. And I think we're standalone in what we've done here.
We're just about one of I found one in Fort Collins, Colorado, and it was in Harmony County, so it was called Harmony Library. I said, well, Harmony is not our name, but that's our attitude here. So we've gotten along really well too. And there are colleges where the public library may be on the first floor and the college library on the second floor. Okay. So there's very few where they're all in kind of one floor, one space, and working together at a common desk. And we had Library Congress filing and the Dewey Decimal System. We each have different systems. But it works, and it's been
unique.
It really is. Yeah, it's unique in Tennessee, probably the whole Southeast almost. So it's been a tremendous resource for everybody. And looking to the future, like I said back there in 2000, the master plan said maybe build 157,000 square feet. Well, we're at about 120, and we are thinking, I know we've talked a little bit about this, about more health sciences. And if you got a few minutes after we finish today, we might look at our Baptist building. We spent about $700,000 redoing the nursing labs and the EMS labs, and now we have Baker McCool as our director of the emergency medical services here, and he's doing a great job with offering EMT and paramedic classes and integrating, really using a lot of technology too. And of course, those labs, you need very sophisticated mannequins, just like the nurses do.
The nursing school is still just going great guns.
It is, yeah. Still got a waiting list, and I think we get 48 into our normal regular classes, and then the paramedic to RN, we might just have 24 in those classes. But that's been a real...
How many do we graduate a year?
Well, this past year we graduated about 110 within one calendar year, within 12 months. So 110 RNs.
And our first one was in December of 2008, I believe.
That's true, because they went through all of 7. They started in January 7, so all of 7 and all of 8, so they finished in December.
You did. First graduating class.
You did, yeah. And it was a pretty good group, but we're even bigger now. And of course, we have to have these ceremonies. We've done them virtually this year. We're looking forward. In fact, that's what they're all asking now. Can we have an in-person pinning ceremony and graduation? So hopefully,
I hope we're able to.
And we might be able to do it in August. We may not make May, but maybe we'll do it in August and get that class. So. And we've got more programs that go through the summer now, and we have a summer Pell Grant now. Probably again, Congressman Tanner at least got some of that going. I know we didn't get that all finished until about 3 or 4 years ago, but that's made a huge difference for people to be able to continue to go to school and not have to stop out in the summer. And just getting some reports to show what that promise has meant. We used to have default rates of maybe 15, 20% of our people that were out on loans. And this year, at least the very first estimate, which is usually pretty accurate, is 8.5%. And it's steadily gone down since the Tennessee Promise was approved in 2015 and since the Reconnect in 2018. So, we've made amazing progress since the early 90s with, you starting and really, Governor McWhorter was key in getting the Gibson County Center built. He and Tommy Goodwin over there were friends, and that all worked for them. So,
we did an assessment of high school students regarding health sciences, jobs, X-ray technicians, MRI, all those different jobs. And there was extremely high interest in high school students for that kind of work. Going and getting a degree or whatever you need, a certificate, and then going to work making $52,000 a year. There wasn't a lot of interest, quite frankly. There are not a whole lot of high school students who graduate and say, man, I'm looking forward to getting me a good manufacturing job. We concentrate on manufacturing a lot because it broadens, our industrial base, and there's a big ripple effect to the local economy. But in terms of student interest, the health sciences is a case where you have something that's very rare. You have high student interest, and you have very high demand in their sector for workers.
Definitely. Yeah, we're looking at surgical tech and something that goes along with it. They, with all the sterilization of the surgery equipment. So we're thinking that might be a new program. We are looking for grants to help us get it done.
But Jeff, is that the pay scale? Does that have a lot to do with it?
It does. It has. They can get training quickly versus a 4-year school, and they can get to work making money and buy, the car or the starter house or whatever quickly. So it's just part of it's impatience. But that's what the survey showed clearly, is that the health sciences there was high interest in those kind of jobs, and part of it's because there's so much of those jobs that are available locally. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital has talked about an $8 billion expansion over 10 years. That's just unbelievable compared to, the normal industrial expansions that we have in rural West Tennessee. And all the other hospitals down there have expansion plans as well. And so clearly in the future, those kind of jobs, there's going to be high demand. And as I said, looks like there's high student interest, so we ought to be able to marry those two.
Yeah, that's what we went after with like the surgical tech proposal. I mean, it's still not funded, but we're working on it. And then there's all the others, like you mentioned. There are jobs we don't even know about right now that are out there in healthcare, or will be out there in healthcare. So no doubt about that interest. Maybe we should call it robotics technician jobs instead of manufacturing jobs, and make it sound a little more. It is very high tech to work in so many of these manufacturing companies now, and great futures for everybody. So, yeah, and then I know I was talking to Jeff Agee with First Citizens National Bank. He says he needs banking, branch managers, tellers, all the way up. He's having trouble finding people for his banking jobs. So. Yeah. So there's a lot of great jobs, and people need just a little bit of skill. And then the IT jobs, they're terrific, especially if you get into some of the certifications for security, so that you don't, keep our networks and everything, all the information secure, which is getting to be more and more challenging. So. Well, I'd like to, close this off and just say thank you to both of you. We just wouldn't be in a place like this, and our students wouldn't have the opportunity if you hadn't put in an awful lot of time and effort and used your persuasive powers to make it all happen. So thank you. And I don't know if you'd like to say anything else but it's really a bright future for Tipton County, I think, because this has been done.
I'll just end my remarks by saying, again, this is an example of what state and local government can do when they work together toward a common goal. We did have some help from the feds when John Tanner was our congressman, but this is mainly a state and local government facility here, and that's how it came about. There's so many local people that helped so much and gave so much, and I remember when Tim had all three of the major banks here give $100,000 each. And at that time, that was $100,000 is a lot of money anyway, but it was a lot of money at that time. And then our Bub Cole giving the building, and it just went on and on and on. Different people in the community, and we could sit here and name so many of them, but we'd leave someone out. I'll let Jeff take over from me.
Well, I mean, first of all, in Tipton County, we were fortunate that we had $3 million we could invest in the library and in this new building here. So we were blessed in that regard. We've also been blessed. We had a lot of leaders, and we've mentioned them here now earlier, that really did push this project on. Of course, Dr. Bowyer, all along, ever since I've known her, she's pushed and prodded and expanded the community college footprint, and begged for funding and prize folks. And she'd know she wouldn't come to me; she'd send Duke, because she knew that was the most effective way to get something. And he didn't hesitate to show up. But she's led this institution for a long time now, and it's grown in West Tennessee. And clearly there are folks that have been to Dyersburg State and post-secondary institutions that would not have gone had it not been for Dr. Bowyer's leadership and her forward thinking, and her able to accumulate support in the local areas for these additional community college facilities. So rural West Tennessee's better off for that. And hopefully in the future we can continue to build on what these folks that have, worked so hard in the past, many that aren't with us any longer, they've kind of provided the foundation and the support, and we can keep that movement alive.
Yeah. Well, we're just, our next big project is a soccer field out here. It's not a building, but it's, hopefully the community will use that just like they're using the library and our classes and everything else, and, have a second major facility, at least in the county, or maybe we got more than that in terms of soccer fields, but to have a really good one. And we got a great young women's soccer program here, so they're very active students and students that would love to play soccer. They just don't want to commit to a university. If you're playing soccer for a university, you're spending a lot of time on the sport. And so here they can still play, but yet not quite have such demands on their time and all.
But Dr. Bowyer, I'd be remiss if I did not emphasize how much it meant for us to have a county executive like Jeff Huffman
I know.
here in Tipton County during this entire development. It wouldn't have happened without people like Jeff on the forefront, working so hard to make sure everything that we did was going to be done right.
Right. I
And
agree.
We appreciate you very much.
Yep.
I learned from Speaker Naifeh here. I got to, he allowed me, I got to sit in some meetings that I probably wasn't supposed to be in. So I kind of learned how state government worked and how really the intergovernmental relationship between the state level and the local government level was supposed to work. So I was very fortunate to have been county executive while he was the leader in the Tennessee House of Representatives. And I benefited from that tremendously, as you know, Dr. Bowyer, as anybody would. And so I think the future's still bright here. I mean, we don't hear much about Interstate 69, but that's still on the drawing board, and it's just a matter of getting funded. Once TDOT, I think, gets a lot of these local projects completed, this backlog, the mega site is still over there, and we're pushing and prodding on that. They are wearing out horses to 4-lane Austin P Highway, which is going to be a major thoroughfare in Memphis and Shelby County. Going to take a lot of traffic off Highway 51. So there are some really big projects and areas of improvement that are pending here that I think we're going to benefit from in the future.
Jeff, we started the 4-lane of the Austin P when Governor Sunquist was governor, and we only got a very small portion of it done, but we did get a little bit done, didn't we? We got it started.
Yeah, it's amazing what's happening over there. But I think 69 is supposed to be right behind us here, pretty close actually to this campus. So that'll be good for the college. And yep, we've got 102 acres here with let's see, 38, and yeah, we got 38 to be, or I'm sorry, 64 to begin with, and then another 38 acres. So 102 acres, and we got a plan for buildings, on that. On the property that's here, so hopefully we can keep
I remember
growing.
Duke Braswell and I talking about it, Dr. Bowyer, and I said, with that Interstate 69 ever comes, Duke, we can get to Memphis in 20 minutes, and they can get up here in 20 minutes. And Duke said, I'm not so sure that's a good idea.
Well, we have a lot of students out of North Shelby County that are coming this way because it's just a whole lot easier. So. Well, thank you both for your time, and it's not over yet, and we're going to keep celebrating now during this 2021 year to celebrate what's been accomplished, and like you're talking about the things that are ahead that we really need to, that hopefully we're preparing for, and we'll have support to make it happen. So thank you both.